the one thing I always take away from being able to be around you guys, being able to be around players, being around that team was just that I needed every bit of that in that time period because I was in such a broken place spiritually that the city of New Orleans, my teammates, everything, it brought me right back. It was like, nah, we're not gonna let you go too far, down this dark path. We're gonna keep you right here with us. And then we ended up winning that Super Bowl, man. And that was just like the biggest release of just like the monkeys off my back, breathe fresh air, and that's what it was about.
Yo, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. This is Roman Harper, and you are listening to the NFL Players Second Acts podcast. I got a special guest here, a former teammate of mine. Really looking forward to really diving into different aspects of this young man's life. He's been a superstar for as long as I've known him, and he continues to shock and show out in this world. I want to first and foremost, thank all of our listeners for tuning in. Continue to listen to us. Always give us a review. And for all us new listeners today that's tuning in, make sure you hit and click on that follow button. Give us a review and a like, and make sure you continue to subscribe. Tell a friend, tell another friend to tell a friend. All right, anywhere you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio app, or anywhere else you listen to or pick up on your podcast. Thank you. Our guest today, some people don't know how to really describe him or what he is or what he has become, but just know to many people, he is the best college football player they have ever seen with their own eyes. Today's guest, Fight On for Victory, number 5, aka 25 Fever, whatever you want to call him, Reggie Bush, the second overall pick in 2006 from the University of Southern California. Lucky enough to have fallen to the number 2 pick. My teammate, former teammate, and always my dude, Reggie. How you doing, my boy?
I'm good, man. I'm good, Rome. How you doing, man? It's good to be here.
I'm doing good, man. So most of the time we tell everybody resumes and blah, 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 but, everybody kind of knows you. So let me just tell a good story about my boy, Reggie. So this was my initial introduction to Reggie Bush. Right? So for all these listeners out here, so we both get drafted. All right, Reggie's number 2. I'm second round pick for the Saints. They fly Reggie in. The second round pick, I guess I must have missed a flight or I didn't get whatever it was. It's cool. I'm not even mad about that. All right, not even mad. So now we get out there. We're in rookie camp. Everybody goes to rookie camp. So me and Reggie are roommates. All right.
Yep.
So the only time we were there for the short period of time, we were roommates. And this is my introduction to Reggie Bush. Reggie has his laptop out, and he shows me what he had just come from Vegas at the Hard Rock Hotel at Rehab was the pool party. I had never seen anything like this in my life. All right. Coming from Alabama, I'd only been out of the state a few times. My man Reggie's like, bro, this is like Memorial Weekend. You don't know anything about this? I'm like, no, I've never seen anything like this. It was absolutely life-changing. I literally went the next year and told my mom, you know what, Mom, I'll never be home for Memorial Day ever again. I'm going to be at the Hard Rock Hotel with my boy Reggie and everybody else. Everybody, Reggie Bush right there.
Yeah. Hey, you know what is crazy is we, going to Vegas now is so different than, back during that time period before COVID and all these things that, have transpired since. But Rehab was the first big pool party I ever went to. And the first time I went, I had that same reaction. I was like, oh my God, what is this? Like, look at all these damn people here. And it was like one of those first big pool parties, back in that time period when pool parties were still big.
Yeah.
I remember going there, every year with a bunch of teammates, hanging out, having a good time.
And Reggie, you had went before it got ratchet too. Like eventually,
yeah, it wasn't ratchet yet.
No, it was a new phenomenon.
Yeah, it was a new phenomenon still. It got ratchet at some point, and then I think things end up changing. Like Excess popped up, and Encore Beach, and all these other places. But those good times, man. That was the beginning of our relationship, us meeting. I never forget, man, meeting you for the first time. I was like, how old is this dude? Like, ain't no way me and him are coming in the same draft class. Like, this dude got to be year 10 right now.
I be trying to tell everybody, like, bro, I've literally had gray hair like majority of my life. So I
Long
can't, I
time.
literally
Long as I know
cannot,
you.
I can't, I can't dye it because everybody like, dude, what
Yeah.
if I showed up, Reg, with black hair, what would you say?
You should actually do that one time just for the college football show, bro. I swear to God, it would be a hit. It would go viral if you showed up all straight black hair, no grays nowhere. Just go ahead and dye that thing, man. Color it up one time for the TV.
So Peanut was my teammate, and he literally started a GoFundMe,
Yep.
and it got up to like $7,000, bro. Like
Mm-hmm.
trying to get me to dye my hair for like a week, and I was like, no, I won't do it. Won't do it.
Now you know what? Um, I honestly, it gives you so much character. You know what I'm saying? Like, because there's different things about us individually that that separate us from other people. And I just feel like the way we look, sometimes the way we talk, the way we
Yep.
act, it all just gives us character.
Yeah.
And just knowing you for as long as I've known you, man, coming in the same draft, you always been the same guy, always been a great person, always been an amazing teammate, hard worker. Nothing is changing. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Yeah.
still seeing that same guy. You know what I mean? We on the other side now. You know what I mean?
That's it, bro.
We lived our time in the NFL. We made it through, with all our limbs still attached to our body.
Yep.
And but I wouldn't even recognize you, bro, if you didn't have gray hair. So, I think it gives you character, man. Obviously, everybody who's known you for so long, probably feels the same way, man.
Yeah.
So,
Uh, well, I
you
appreciate that.
good. You
Thanks,
good.
dog. Thank you.
And,
Now,
and you know what I'm saying? You the man. So
well, I appreciate that, dog. All right. Well, let's kind of jump into that NFL career of
let's do it.
talking about
Let's
that.
do it.
And one special season that we shared was in 2009 when we won Super Bowl 44 versus the Colts in Miami at the end of all that season. What was your favorite moment from that season? You've had some special moments, Reggie. I mean, not
Yeah.
only, I don't want to take anything for you or give you a whole bunch of options. I want you to
Of
speak on it first. But I mean, you dove from like the 8-yard line at one point in time. So like you've had some very, very special moments. So please go. Just take it away from there.
Well, that Miami game you're talking about was a special one because I just remember us going to Miami and that being a dogfight. Like Ricky Williams and Ronnie Brown, it felt like they had like 200 yards each in the first half,
It was
bro. They
I
was
was like first
running.
half. Clearly first half. No
They was
question.
running, right? And so just that second half is where we really gelled together. We fought back. Drew was making plays. I was making plays. I had the dive where I took off from like the 8-yard line, like you said. And the thing about whenever I dove in the end zone, it was me saying or showing that I'm gonna score no matter what at all costs. So it's not something that I practice. You never saw me dive in practice ever.
Never. Nobody ever
Not
hit the
once.
ground. Yeah, yeah. I've never seen Reggie on the ground. Not one time.
It
Hate
was
to admit that.
only it was only in games that would come out, and in all honesty, it's not something I prepared for.
Mhm.
It was not something I practiced. It was just like if I'm within 10 yards of this end zone, I'm jumping because if I got to get a ball to Deuce on the 1-yard line or to Pierre on the 1-yard line or whoever it is, you know what I'm saying? I might not get that opportunity back. So, and
Yeah,
the same thing,
they're gonna pull you as soon as you get on that too. All right, Reg, come over
bruh,
here.
every time they act like I can't run between the tackles and on the goal line. You know what I'm saying? And it started at USC when me and Lindell obviously were Thunder and Lightning, and we were going back and forth, and same thing though. If I got tackled on a 1 or 2, they was gonna bring Lindell in there and handle the football. So I'm like, you know what? F this. I'm getting in that end zone. I don't care what I gotta do. If I gotta break somebody's leg, if I gotta bite somebody's fingernails off, whatever I gotta do, I'm getting in the end zone. And that's kind of where the diving and the jumping, started. But just going back to that 2009 season, it was so special for us because everything we were playing for, from 2006, months removed. And it's crazy is what people may not know is we got drafted to New Orleans 5 months after Katrina.
It was
It was
terrible.
it was a third world country when
It
you went
was.
down there, bro. It looked like a war zone,
Yes.
and there I remember there was curfew at like 8 o'clock. People had to be inside. Nothing was open, no businesses were open. You could still see obviously a lot of the destruction,
Mhm.
spray paint, on the houses with the number of bodies found inside the houses. And this is like what we're driving through to get to practice every single day.
The
We're
FEMA
seeing these
trailers, I
FEMA
totally,
trailers.
yeah, the FEMA trailers are a huge thing. Please
Yeah.
continue.
Yeah, and it was just, it was a time period where, I felt like there was a bigger purpose, for us being down there, and there was a reason why, that team was brought together, was to help restore hope into the city,
Mhm.
and to, uplift people's spirits, by winning football games. Because before we got there, the Saints were not good, and they had some pretty bad seasons for a couple years before that, and we were kind of like the new kids on the block, in that 2006 season, and we were able to make some noise, go to the NFC Championship game. We were one half removed from playing in the Super Bowl,
Yep.
and I think us losing that NFC Championship game left a bitter taste in our mouth, but it also showed us that hey, we belong here, and we can do this. And the next 2 years, we kind of faltered. We were average, and then year four, 2009, is when it just all clicked, all came together. And, that's when Greg Williams came over. And I really felt like, just his attacking style of defense, the way you guys played, the defense was the reason why, a big piece of reason why that we won that Super Bowl that year because, you guys were just, you guys turnovers, ferocious, like everything that team needed in that time period, is what you guys brought, to the table. And some of those practices that we had, man, those were bloodbath practices. Like y'all was chirping at Drew anytime he got an interception. Whole team celebrating in the end zone, so that fired us up. We had to come back, you know what I'm saying, and score touchdowns. And it was just those battles, man. Those practices that we had, from training camp to the season, and that's really where, we built that championship team. It is within those practices and those, those times where the camera's not on, when we're not on the
Yep.
football field on
Yep.
Sundays and playing. And we built a relationship that I felt like goes far beyond the football field. To this day, all y'all are still my brothers. Y'all know that. We still be on the
Yep.
group chat talking trash all day with Orny and Streef and Vilma and all these dudes, man. And so that's what I appreciated most about that time period that I was in New Orleans, that we were in New Orleans together, was just
Yeah.
the relationships that we built, man. And Coach, Coach Vitt used to always say they're gonna walk together forever.
This
When
is true. There's no truer words.
it's true.
I would hear him say it all the time. You don't really pay attention to it. And
Yeah.
he said something else all the time too. He's like, when you're living in the greatest time of your life, you don't realize it.
Right.
And those are some of the greatest times of our lives,
Yeah.
literally. And you don't realize it. You just kind of living life. You're taking it.
Yeah.
You're taking it for a little bit. You're taking it for granted mostly. And then you wake up and you're like, dude, that really was something special. And
Mm-hmm.
I tell people all the time about how hard our practices were, how
So hard.
competitive they were. But we always knew
So hard.
defensively, if we did something good and we confused your guys' offense or Drew, we were definitely it was going to work
Yeah.
on Sunday. So
Yeah.
that confidence we built playing against one of the best offenses in the league at the time was it really helped our team out, and it made us better. It made us a better team overall. Now,
Yeah.
Rich, talking about the Super Bowl, we win the Super Bowl, great
Mm-hmm.
season. What did you do after? What was that party scene for you afterwards? New Orleans is known for a party scene. I get it. What was that like being Reggie Bush after winning the Super Bowl?
Man, you know what? After we won that Super Bowl that night, I think I went to Live. I think I went
Yep.
to Live that night. We all went to Live. I think
I did
all,
not go. I ended up going to Story. Live was like 20-something a section. It was like crazy. It was too crazy. And I had some
yeah.
boys with me, so it was too much. But yes.
Just being in Miami, winning that Super Bowl, man, it was such an amazing time period. especially for Saints fans,
Mm-hmm.
for the organization, for us, the players. Being able to win that in Miami against the Colts, it was larger than life, man. It was the biggest thing ever. It was like you said in that moment. I was excited, I was happy, I was, celebrating. We finally did it. But I had to be honest, like 2 weeks later, I was already like, okay, let's go get the next one. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And it was
Yeah.
like I didn't take enough time to enjoy it.
Mm.
I was already trying to think about how are we going to get number two. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing about when you win championships, especially when you're able to win them at the highest level. It's like a drug because you want it again. Like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, that was fun, but I want to do that X amount more times. And I remember us going to. Do you remember our parade? Our parade was crazy.
It
Oh my god,
legendary.
that parade was awesome, man. And I,
They
I
said
got
it
to
was
tell
gonna
this.
be 3 hours, and it lasted about 8.
Oh, that ain't no way that parade was gonna last 3 hours. I mean, we had every street. It was just lines and just thousands of people every street. No, it didn't matter what street you looked on. It was just packed with people. And we were on our Mardi Gras floats, going through the French Quarter, going through Uptown. And so I'll never forget this story. I ended up being on somehow, I don't know how. I ended up being on Sean's float. So it's
Uh-huh.
me, Sean, Mickey, Orny's on the float. Somehow Jay Glazier was on the float. No idea why. He had none of the team, but he on the float celebrating with us. And so everybody's lit up, right?
No
Everybody's
doubt.
lit up.
No doubt.
Coach Payton is lit up. And so Coach decides, I don't even know if people know this story. He decides as we are going through Uptown, he decides to jump off the float with the Super Bowl trophy. Didn't warn nobody, didn't tell nobody, didn't ask permission. We got security, all kinds of stuff. It's thousands of people as soon as you step off this float. By himself, starts running down the street with the trophy above his head. Bruh, I promise you. So this is crazy.
This is the
Nobody
first
saw
time I'm
him.
hearing this story. This is awesome.
Nobody saw him but me. I was the only one that saw him running down the street. And I was like, hey, y'all need to go get Sean over there because he's running down the street with the trophy. And all you saw was just thousands of people like a swarm of bees just whew, right on top of him. You couldn't see him anymore. But you saw the trophy just bouncing around down, down the first quarter through this crowd. And it was so crazy because it was just one of those things where it was just like sudden and security had to run out there and get him, whatever it was, but it was obviously all in fun. And it was a great time, man.
Yeah.
I think winning the Super Bowl for the city of New Orleans during that time period is one of the greatest memories and accomplishments of my life.
Let's talk about another accomplishment. And that is in 2019, you were inducted into the Saints Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
Uh, could you take me through that? Your emotions, how did it
yeah.
feel? Were you surprised? Were you shocked? And then I'm gonna tell the people the biggest Reggie Bush moment after all that. Please go.
I was happy and I was excited because what we built in New Orleans, that team, all those guys that played, our draft class, everybody played double-digit years, which is crazy.
Yeah, crazy.
Even Ninkovich, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
After he left us and went on to, the Patriots, ended up having an amazing career. So it was
yeah,
like everybody from our draft class, even down to Colston, who was, one of the last picks and ended up becoming one of the greatest receivers.
yeah. I think it's
And
second to
so,
last pick. Second to last pick in
yeah,
the whole
second to
draft.
last
Yeah.
pick. And it's just the way that everything worked out, the people that we brought in, it was just awesome, man. And to be able to celebrate that with Mrs. Benson,
Mhm.
and with coach and my teammates, and just knowing that my name was going to be up there with you guys, and for everything we did, for that organization and for the city. That's what it's all about. That's what it's
Yeah.
all about. It's all about just leaving everything on the field and having no regrets. And I really felt like I gave everything I had, to every team while I could, and especially to the city of New Orleans. New Orleans is my home away from home. I love that place to death. I love all the people down there, the fans, and some of the best food in the world. I don't care where you been, where you ate. If you ain't ate in New Orleans, you ain't had the best food.
I could not deny that and totally agree with you. Could I just I want to know this too, because this is the biggest Reggie Bush moment. Is that so? Reggie gets inducted into the Hall of Fame. He go in
Mm-hmm.
with, do you go in with who? Lance or Colston?
Colston.
All right,
Me and
you go
Colston
in with
landed.
Marcus Colston.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. All right, so I'm not in yet. I come because I want to support my guys. Same draft class. I ain't doing nothing. So we come. And lo and behold, you know who's late and don't even show up till game time. The next day of the Hall of Fame. Family's there, wife looking beautiful. None other than Reginald Bush right here. My man, he's like, couldn't make the flight after my show. Like, Orny's like, dude, as much money as this mother joker has made, he wouldn't just get a private jet. Just like get him there. Wouldn't do it.
What?
We missed you, Reds. That's all I'm saying. It was a great speech that you supposedly did. It was amazing.
My wife gave the speech.
The elite looked beautiful. All right. It was awesome. All right. It was good. The boys, their daughter, everybody looked great.
Yep.
We just missed you. Okay. Just to let you know. It was the Reggie Bush moment. Yes, this is Reggie
Let me
Bush.
explain myself first.
Okay,
right?
please explain, because we would
There
all
was
like to know.
as y'all know, New Orleans, Louisiana, is a sitting duck for a lot of these storms that happens. Rainstorms would be some of the most powerful storms you've ever seen in your life.
True.
That day, there was a bad storm, and a lot of the flights got delayed or canceled.
Mm-hmm.
And the airport, the airport in New Orleans ended up losing power during this storm. And so a lot of flights going into New Orleans got really delayed. And so my flight was delayed. And, it was last minute. There's no way to call, a private jet last minute like that. It was, I had already booked this flight and I was already, at the airport, pulled up, and I didn't know until I got there that it was going to be that delayed. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm about to miss my Hall of Fame induction speech. Like, what do I do? Like, can y'all hold him for a little bit, or
Can't hold it, dog. We all here. We all in the building. We are all in the building.
So it was one of those just times where it was literally out of my control, and I really wanted to be there, obviously, to obviously be able to give a speech, but my wife held it down for me, man, and
Yes, she did.
that's the beauty of having a spouse. That's the beauty of having a best friend, is that we counterbalance each other, and when there's times where there's something that she can't do, I pick up for it. When there's things that sometimes I can't do, or things I can't make it, and she can hold it down for me, then that's what she does. And that's I think the best part about me and my wife's relationship is that we love each other, we support each other. And if one of us is ever in a jam and we got to pick up the slack for the other person, then that's what we're there for, and then we're gonna do that.
Reggie, I've met Lalit quite a few times. Number one, hats off to Lalit for picking up the speech, because it was funny. Because nobody, it was
with
hilarious.
no practice. Actually, by the way, she ain't
no practice. She was
nothing.
not prepared for this at all, but
Not
she
prepared.
held it down. So shout out to Lalit, and I know her. She's beautiful. She's amazing. And bro, nobody's gonna have your back more than her. And like, if you need to hide a body, she would do it for you. And you know that. You know that.
Absolutely.
Now, this is not the only Hall of Fame that you're in this year.
Yeah.
College football Hall of Fame, new inductee this year's class, my man Reggie Bush. I want to first of all tell you congratulations on that. That's a huge deal. And knowing the history of what you've had at USC, the NCAA, all of what college football, as much as you meant to it or did for it, and what it has done to you on the other side of that, did you ever see this happening? And also, I want to also know, man, like, where were you at? How'd you find this out? Like, who told you?
True story. Orny told me.
Like,
Orny told me weeks before it even happened. So I had already knew. Orny leaked it out. Classic
of
Orny.
Course.
Classic Orny. He leaked it out to me. But it's funny, as I wasn't even thinking about College Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
That was not something that was on my mind. It was something that I knew was gonna eventually happen. I
Yep.
just didn't know when.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because of the nature of everything that happened while I was at USC, and um, the things that were done to the university, to me, through the NCAA, and just that constant uphill battle, that fight, against the
Yep.
NCAA. And I'm happy that I'm finally now into the college football the Hall of Fame. I think that I earned it.
Yep. For
I,
sure.
and again, I don't want anything given to me for free. I want everything that I get. I want to earn it. I want to make sure that I've put in the body of work to show people that he deserves this, or whatever that is. And so when Orny told me the news, I was excited. I was happy. And I told my wife, told my kids, they were all excited and happy. And, we're looking forward to, the actual induction
Yep.
ceremony, dinner, all those different things. And, it's been a long time coming, man. I think when I look back on my college career, it was the place for me where I grew so much and where I became a man, because coming from high school, you know, I was a great football player and played against, great talent, but I felt like also my talent level was, at a certain level. And then when you get to college, you realize, oh, everybody's an All-American.
Yep.
Everybody is, one of the best at, where they came from. And so there was just that shift, I think, in my mind, where I had to go earn it all over again. I had to go
Mhm.
prove myself all over again to my teammates, to the fan base, to the coaches. This was not going to be something that was going to be easily given to me because of what I did in high school, but yet I was going to have to go in and put the body of work in all over again and reprove myself. And I thought Pete Carroll did a great job at creating, just competition. He created, it was always competition on the field.
Mhm.
And that was the one thing that drove us, I think, was because you couldn't relax, because you had another 5-star behind you. You had another 5-star behind him and another 5-star
SC
behind him.
was so loaded. I don't think people that watch college football now understand how SC people when I was in college, Reg, a couple things. I'll talk about the trend setting that you guys
Mm-hmm.
did and the West Coast. But you know, people believe that USC would never ever falter, that they would
Mm-hmm.
be what Alabama has now become, or
Yeah.
what Georgia seems to be wanting to become now in college
Yep.
football
Yep.
space. And so we all know that college football goes in these ebbs and flows. But
Mm-hmm.
man, what you guys and Pete Carroll created was crazy. Like
Yeah.
everybody wanted to put up the V for victory. What you
Mm-hmm.
guys did, I don't know your colors completely. I know it's yellow and the
You know
rest
our
are
colors,
red.
man. Stop acting like you
Is
don't
it?
know
I
our
didn't know.
colors, bro.
It's not
You
cardinal.
know our
Is it
colors.
maroon? Is it maroon? It's not maroon. Is it crimson? What is it? Like,
Stop
what is that
acting
red?
like you don't know our colors, bro. You know
It's
what it is.
it's something in yellow. What is it?
It's cardinal and gold, man.
Cardinal
Stop
and gold.
playing.
My bad, dog.
Cardinal and gold.
My bad. I
Stop
didn't want to
playing
get
with
it
us.
wrong. See, I'm saying my bad. My bad. My bad, dog. I'm better than that. You're right. I am better than that. I'm a West Coast guy. You know that. But look, can we talk about? Let's just stay right there, because I
Yeah.
want to talk about a couple trends that you guys set in college. All right, Reg,
Mhm.
you guys were the first ones to wear like regulation like socks to like
Mhm.
calf to the
Mhm.
calf and
Mhm.
make that look hot. You know what I'm saying? Like you boys was like I was in Alabama wearing my socks at practice of like right below my calf muscle, because that's what SC was doing. And
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
literally playing
Yeah.
college ball too, but I'm like, bro,
Yeah.
they way better than us. So I'm trying to be like them. Like I don't know what the rest of y'all doing, but I'm trying to be like them boys out there, bro. Because like
Yeah.
that's where it's at. All right. That was one thing. You were also one of the first people. Where'd you get this from to put the 619, your area code,
Yeah.
underneath your eye patch? That was like game changer. A couple different
So.
things. Lindell had the different colored visors. You guys
Yep.
had celebrities on the sidelines. Snoop,
Mhm.
Will Ferrell. You can name them off. Just take me into like when all that started, and did you
Yeah.
guys really recognize like how much you were impacting college football in the country at the time?
Well, like you said, you never really um, feel like this is, the greatest time of your life, because, when
Mhm.
you're in those moments, it just feels like you're living. It just
Yep.
feels like you're working and you're grinding. The 619 underneath my eyes, that started actually. I would write my area code, as where I'm from, San Diego. I would write that on my wrist tape,
Uh huh.
and at some point, I think I stopped wearing wrist tape. And Tino, who was our equipment manager, um, was always, we were always like just messing around with just, how can we make this look cool? How we can make just different things look cool. And so I came into the locker room one time and he was just writing, different things on the eye blacks. And I was like, oh, maybe we should write 619 on there, the area code. Let's try it out. And so we went out to practice with it, and it got I got a pretty good reception. I was like, I think I'm gonna do this in the game, and I always wanted to. The reason why I did it is because I always wanted to pay homage to my hometown, where I came from. We talk about putting the city on your back, on the map, so to speak, and that was kind of my way of paying homage to my hometown, where I came from, the people that helped me get there, my high school coaches, little league. I mean, everybody. You know what I'm saying? And so I wanted to really, kind of show that respect while playing football on the field. And that's kind of where it started. It was literally something that simple. It was just our equipment manager kind of like playing around with just different things. And then when I came in there, we was like, yo, we're going to try this in the game. And it got a great reception, and had we been losing, I don't know, does that ever become a trend? Like, that maybe never becomes a trend if we lose it. If you lose it, people can be like, oh, that's trash, man. What you doing over there, man? You don't know what he's doing.
People in the 619 ain't letting you represent. They're like, bro, he ain't with us. He with us. Like,
we don't know him. We don't know him.
No, not at all.
But that's kind of where it started, man. And it's also funny because in the Fresno State game, I was rocking the one sleeve.
Yeah, did that one got torn, right?
It got torn. It wasn't, again.
But now all of them do it. Everybody rocks one sleeve.
Doing it. So, it was in the game. I was obviously balling, and I was running through a tackle, and my right sleeve got torn and ripped, and it was just like hanging. And I was just like, yo, cut it off, man. Let's go. Like, let's get back in the game. Cut it off. And I'm not even thinking that, like, people are going to latch on to this, and this could become a new trend with one arm sleeves. And, that's kind of, they ended up being one of the best games of my career,
Yes,
at the college level. And, again, when you're playing at a high level and you do little things like that, people catch on to it. And I think, people obviously liked it. And it was kind of welcomed into the college football world, But again, a lot of these different trends and things that, we did at USC was not on purpose. It was by mistake or accident, and we just kind of ended up, latching onto it and became a thing. But, just again, that time period at USC, I became a man. The players, the guys that I played with pushed me to get to that Heisman Trophy, to win the Heisman Trophy. I did not win that by myself, because every single day in practice, similar to our 2009 season, it was like that every single day in practice. We were trying to knock each other's heads off. We were going at each other. It was trash talking. Even the coaches was trash talking to us. Like one of our linebacker coaches was Ken Norton Jr.
I was going to say, was Ken Norton in? He was there with you guys, right?
And anybody who knows Ken Norton knows he is one of the greatest talkers that has ever existed, right? Ever. Like Sharp. We see Shannon Sharp talks a lot of trash.
Yeah.
Ken Norton, same way. And I think it was just something about that era. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That era of athletes, the era of players, because the game was much more violent back then. The rules were way different. You could destroy a quarterback back then.
You had two steps.
And so it was just a different era, of athletes. And a lot of those guys, I think about, those are guys that I grew up watching. You know what I'm saying? I still have a folder. I don't have it here right now. I have a folder for when I was growing up of trading cards that I collected. And I went back through, it's kind of crazy, man. This is like full circle. I went back, I pulled this binder out because my son now loves to collect trading cards, basketball trading cards. And so I was like, man, this is what, Daddy used to do this. Let me go blow my thing off back there. Let me go pull it out, open it up, man. I had so many cards in there of guys who now I'm friends with or have gotten to know. So Ken Norton Jr., I had like 5 of his cards, right? I had a Marshall Faulk cards. You name it, I had it. And all these guys I've developed relationships with, and these are guys who really I looked up to, when I was playing in the league. And one of my favorites ever was Deion Sanders, Prime,
Mm-hmm.
Coach Prime. And he was literally the reason why, I wanted to play football. And so it was Deion Sanders and Barry Sanders. So I tried to emulate my game after Barry,
Yep.
but I really wanted to be Prime. And so I tried to mix the best of both of them. So that's why Deion returned punts. I return punts. That's where
Got
all
it.
started, was watching him return punts. And Barry Sanders didn't return punts. So I was like, you know what?
No.
I'm gonna figure out how I can do both of these. So I tried to emulate Barry from the running back position, and then Prime returning punts, and just that showmanship that he brought
Yep.
to the game.
I mean, nobody was flashier than Prime, bro. Like
Nobody,
I
bruh.
still got
Nobody.
I got a big poster in my bedroom of Prime. I got one in
Hmm.
my house right now, autographed that I won at an auction, and just like
Yep.
he was completely mesmer. I mean, he was and he
Polarizing.
played defense, and he was
Yeah.
completely polarizing. Prime time was the whole deal, and
Oh.
it's so funny, man, because we all grew up and we're like collecting cards
Hmm.
was the ish. Like that to wind this college career down because I want to jump into what you're doing now.
Yep.
Number one, do you feel vindicated now that you're going to the College Football Hall of Fame? Because you've been very vocal about
Yep.
your past history, your
Hmm.
legacy, the treatment of between the NCAA and you, all these back and
Hmm.
forths, Mark Emmert. Like you've been very open and honest about that.
Yep.
Do you feel vindicated, Reggie Bush?
Vindicated. Wow. I don't know, because I took so much blame for everything that happened at USC.
Mm-hmm.
For the things that went on. And this, you gotta understand, I was 18 years old, 19 years old,
Yep.
when this stuff happened. There were a bunch of lies that were told that were never brought to light about the true nature of what was going on behind closed doors. The
Mm-hmm.
NCAA decided to paint a narrative about me that was untrue. It literally just was not true. And it's hard to, listen, as a person, anytime somebody says a lie about you, you're gonna want to defend yourself. You know what I'm saying? Right away.
1,000%.
And I never really got that chance, to really defend myself, because the facts that were thrown out there were just not true. About what the NCAA was doing, and there was just no real true investigation that happened. A lot of people think that there was this, you know, detailed investigation that went on. It literally, there was one of the worst investigations that has ever happened, because the NCAA just decided not to do their homework on the
Mm-hmm.
guys and the people who they were choosing to believe. And a lot of this came down to hearsay with
Yep.
no factual proof behind it, which is even worse, because now it's like you're just listening to some guys without any evidence, without any factual proof, without actually doing your homework on the backgrounds of these guys and all the other people that were involved. And then my running back coach at the time period, this was all pinned on my running back coach, because I was already gone. So
Yep.
people got to understand, I had already left college. So there was nothing that the NCAA could do to me. Right? It's
Mm-hmm.
not like the FBI or the police department where they got subpoena power and you got to come. Like, I was already gone in the league with you guys. You know what I'm saying? And I already shifted my focus to New Orleans and to how I was going to help, this city. And so a lot of the things that happened were pinned on my running back coach at this time period, Todd McNair.
Yeah, because he's the only one that they could get because he's
He's the
still
only
in the
one.
covenant. Yeah, so they just do something, get somebody.
Exactly. So it literally just like that. It was like, we got to get somebody. You know what I'm saying? And if for anybody who knows anything about the way that penalties work for the NCAA, they have to have linked somebody from the university with knowledge of what was happening or what was going on, or they were a part of it somehow, some way. And they said my running back coach was that guy. A year later, in 2010, he filed a lawsuit for defamation of character
Mm-hmm.
against the NCAA. Well, they just settled that lawsuit about 8 months ago.
Yeah, We got the
So
tweet.
that
We're gonna pull up your Instagram post, because that's why I asked, do you feel vindicated? Because you posted this Instagram post, you
mm-hmm,
called about the money, you called
mm-hmm,
out Mark Emmert by his name, you said
mm-hmm,
all these, like you were very open and candid about this, Reg. So that's
absolutely.
why I feel like it's cool to talk about it right now, and you can continue to share. And
Well, because it's because people have thought that this case has been closed, right? They thought
yeah,
this has been done and over. It has not been over. It has been ongoing since 2009. Think about how long that's been. That's how long the NCAA has been fighting this. And they didn't want the public to know that, right? It's been
mhm,
behind closed doors. Um, and it hasn't been publicized because the NCAA, first of all, you gotta understand, they got billions of dollars. All right. We don't
billions.
got billions of dollars. All right. So when you're trying to sue a corporation that has billions of dollars, it's gonna be a fight. It's gonna be an uphill battle because they're not gonna run out of money. You will run out of money trying to fight them. And so that's honestly why, I have just been in this waiting, holding pattern because I knew at some point when this case settled, the facts were gonna come out.
Mhm.
But what they did was they went and got a non-disclosure agreement to try to keep it hush hush so the public doesn't find out. That's where I got to draw the line, fam. I'm drawing the line right there. You're not going to accuse me and also, accuse me of all these different things that are supposedly happening, and then you end up settling the case and having to pay, $8 million, because of the lies and things that you told. And this case was public for a while. There was a court, there was a
Mhm.
trial on it. There was things that happened within that case, and a lot of, in my opinion, a lot of evidence that came out that showed that the NCAA had malice towards us and towards TMAC, which was unfortunate because he didn't deserve it. His family didn't deserve it. He didn't do nothing wrong. He didn't even know anything about what was happening. So that's why, when the ruling first came out, we were all shocked actually because we knew that the NCAA there was no evidence on their part. They didn't
Mhm.
have. Oh shit! My bad, bro. My
No, you
bad.
good, dog.
They didn't have. They just didn't have any evidence. So
Mm.
we were really shocked about the ruling and the penalty that came out. And at that point, that's when the lawsuit was filed. And that's when I was like, okay, so here we go. We're going to wait for this lawsuit to settle. And then that's when the facts will come out. I just didn't think it would take 12 years. I didn't think it was going to take 12 plus
Yeah.
years for that case to finally settle. But that goes to show you how much the NCAA did not want this to happen and how much and how long they chose to fight this. And now look at us and look where we are.
Right, right.
The
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 thing with
Supreme Court the Supreme Court ruled against them eight
yep,
nothing, which or 9-0. I don't know what it was,
yep,
8 or 9, basically. But what that shows is that one, what they were doing is a violation of human rights. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? This is where I come to with this whole NIL thing, name, image, and likenesses. NIL is something you were already given at your birth. It's your name, your image, and your likeness. NCAA is the only place where you're told you can't benefit from that. You know what I'm saying?
hmm,
And in no other form of work can you do that. If you work for me, I cannot tell you, Rome, you can't go make money off your name, image, and likeness once you leave this building. You know what I'm saying? And
hmm.
but those are the rules and the games that were put into place, in my opinion, to hold back one group of people and to elevate another group of people. And it's literally that simple.
No, it really is. One more question on this Heisman thing, and that is
Yeah.
that on the I Am an Athlete podcast a
Mm-hmm.
few months ago, you talked about it, and you said the trophy is coming back.
Yeah.
Is it close to coming back? What's your opinion on that now? And I would like to know. I mean, I
Yeah.
always said, Reggie, I think you were crazy for giving it back, but hey, you know how I feel. I've told you that since day one. Anyways, go.
I didn't want to give it back.
Yeah.
So let me just go ahead and say that like this was not something that I wanted to do.
Hmm.
It was just something in that time period I felt was the right thing to do.
Correct.
Because the human side of me was like, F y'all.
Yeah.
Like I'm not giving this back. I earned it. I grinded, I put in the work. Y'all saw what I did on the football field. Stop acting like you didn't see that. You know what I'm saying? And it is what it is. But, in that time period where all this media attention was on the trophy and was on me,
Mm-hmm.
it was all just negative energy. I wanted to be able to shift my focus and have just a clear mindset of where I was going, if that makes sense. So when I
No, it
got
makes
drafted
complete
when
sense.
I got
If like the trophy seems to be bringing all this negativity here, just take it.
exactly.
And then next you know, I will be able to focus and go with all
Hmm.
this because this is what it's all about. You can't punish me.
Right.
So if this is what it's about, then take it.
Right. And I didn't want to bring that energy into New Orleans
Mhm.
because at that time period, one, I was supposed to be drafted to Houston.
Yeah.
Number one. And the reason why there's another story of why that didn't happen, but that was all because of the Heisman Trophy and everything that was going on. But going to New Orleans, when that happened, the first thing they did was they flew me in and they took me on a tour through all the devastation. And right then, right there, I felt this great sense of responsibility to the people of New Orleans, to the city, that there's something much bigger here that needs to happen. And I don't want to bring baggage or negative energy along with me into the situation because these people need my best and they need
Mhm.
my 100% locked in focus. And as long as I'm still getting phone calls and text messages and questions in the locker room about the Heisman Trophy, and everything's about that, nothing's
Yeah.
focused on New Orleans. I can't fully be myself. I can't fully dive in and lock in. And I just didn't, I felt like the people didn't deserve that down there in New Orleans. Like it was something much bigger. Sometimes you go into these situations and it's just something that's just bigger than football, right?
Mhm.
It feels like there was just, I don't know, there's just a greater connection there that was waiting for us, and we all got involved into
Yeah.
helping people rebuild their homes, donating money, physically out
Mhm.
there nailing down, boards and stuff on top of people's houses. And so, when you're in a situation like that, one, what it did for me was it get when the city of New Orleans welcomed me with open arms, it really lit a fire underneath me and made me just want to dive in and give these people everything. And so that's honest to God, part of the reason why, a big reason why I gave it back,
Mhm.
because I just wanted to focus. And then also, I knew at some point when all these facts start to come out, people are going to see the truth, right?
Mm.
And that trophy is going to end up coming back. Where we stand right now, my attorneys have been in contact with the NCAA for some time now. We've pressed them. We've sent them demands, letters. Basically, we sent them a 56-page letter identifying every hole in the investigation, every issue that's wrong with everything that happened. And X amount of months later, I'm in the Hall of Fame. You know what I'm saying? So I swear to God, this is literally how it happened. Like, we pressed them. We like, listen, once the court case
Yeah.
settled, then that gave us factual proof to where the NCAA had nowhere to run, right? You
Yeah.
already got the Supreme Court ruling, and now you got this court case that just crumbled underneath you. And so now all the facts are there. Now y'all literally can't run. You can't go anywhere. You can't hide. All right. This is what the facts are showing and have said. And same thing, we sent that same information to the Heisman Trust. And so where we are right now, we're in a holding pattern, waiting for them to respond, honestly.
Okay.
That's kind of where it is. But do I believe it's gonna come back? I've always felt that way. In my heart of hearts. I've always felt like that. I've always felt like once the facts come out, the trophy's gonna come back.
I, I totally wholeheartedly. I work in the college football space too now. You know that, and
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's going to come back too.
Yeah.
Tell me this, because first of all, I got to give you some credit. You and your boys, pressing these cats, like Big Worm. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Pulled up on them.
But do you think all this extra pressure, all this extra stuff, do you think that impacted your career early in your career in New Orleans or at any other time and throughout your career, like having to deal with all this stuff for 12
Yeah.
years, Reg,
Yep.
over 12 years? did this impact your career or your thought process or any other part? Or maybe you can point out a specific game or a moment that comes to mind where you're like, man, it was just in my head and I could not shake it.
It was every day. I'd be lying to you. Every day has been on my mind. Every single day since 2009, the Heisman Trophy has been right here at the front of my head, and it's been something that I've thought about. It's been something that has drove me, to depression at one point. When I was in New Orleans, this is crazy. When I got drafted, this is supposed to be the happiest time of my life. I'm living out my dream. I finally made it. My opportunity's finally here, and I'm at my lowest point spiritually. I'm at my lowest point mentally, and I felt broken, honestly, because of just the things that were being said about me, and that's what it comes down to, man. When people are calling you one thing and they're labeling you as a certain person as a cheater. How am I labeled as a cheater? I ain't never cheated a day in my life, especially on that football field, and I always showed up and punched that ticket, you know what I'm saying, and punched that clock to go to work. And that was the only way I knew how to work. It was the only way I knew how to show up and to be great and to be myself. And again, luckily, I've been blessed to be surrounded by great teammates like yourself, like all my teammates at USC, guys that pushed me to get there every single day. It was like it was like this it's an unspoken bond, as you know. That unspoken bond is like, I'm gonna show up every single day and I'm gonna push you, right? I'm gonna push you to be your best, because I'm gonna be at my best, right? And so if I'm gonna be at my best, one or two things is gonna have to happen when I step across this football field, I'm gonna step across this sideline from you. Either you gonna rise to the occasion or you gonna fall.
Yep.
And that's why, again, I say that USC, I became a man, is because I was surrounded by nothing but dogs. And when I got to New Orleans, again, surrounded by nothing but dogs. And you didn't have time to sit there and kind of, I think, worry about, your problems and your issues and the things that were going on. It was like the locker room became my escape. It became, my sanctuary. It became the place where I could go to. I could release my stress every single day on that football field. I can go into the weight room, throw up some, 315 or whatever you want.
I seen you. I seen you, dog. I seen you put the. I seen you.
You see me in there putting the
You
work
know
in,
I
man.
seen you,
Come on.
dog. I know
Tell
I
them
seen
about
you.
me, Rome.
I
Tell them
seen
about
you,
me. I was
dog.
in the gym.
My boy throw up some weight on that bench press. No question. And he jumping like a 40. Like I seen it. I seen it.
So that became, I think, my place of peace, which is, I think to me now it sounds crazy, because when you say the football field becomes your place of peace, well, the football field is the most chaotic place you can be. It's literally chaos, right?
Normally,
And
yes.
so how crazy though that the football field, the chaos became my place of peace, right? Became my sanctuary where I can go and get away from the outside noise, and where you guys couldn't touch me, the media, the my friends, my whoever was texting me, calling me. It was like, it's just me in this field, me and my craft. And that's the one thing I always take away from being able to be around you guys, being able to be around players, being around that team, was just that I needed every bit of that in that time period, because I was in such a broken place spiritually that the city of New Orleans, my teammates, everything, it brought me right back. It was like, nah, we're not gonna let you go too far, down this dark path. We're gonna keep you right here with us. And then we ended up winning that Super Bowl, man. And that was just like the biggest release of just like the monkeys off my back, breathe some fresh air, and that's what it was about.
Reg, that's really amazing though to hear you say that. First of all, thanks for being so vulnerable with us and the listeners. The fact is, like, I was your teammate.
Yep.
And I didn't know. And I was a good friend of yours.
Yep.
And we hung and we did all those things, but like I didn't know so much of this burden on you through all these things of the Heisman.
Yeah.
Just really was weighing you down all the time. That literally we got the best version of Reggie when he was on the football field because
Mm-hmm.
of all the things that have been going on off the field. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
my other comment and kind of the question that I would ask is, with all this being said and you sharing all this with us, do
Yeah.
you think your NFL career is any different if you don't have all these other things? And I'm not asking you, would you
Yeah.
change anything as much
Right.
as like, how would it be different in your eyes?
Um, if that didn't happen, do I think there would have been a difference in on the field? I just think the stress level of everything I was dealing with it was the toughest part, right? And it's going through, the going through the fire, right? A lot of the times as men, we're taught to suppress, right? Suppress whatever issues you got going on. You
Mhm.
got to be a man about it. You got to handle it, like a man, and don't cry, this and that.
That is true.
And,
Real talk.
don't complain. And so, for me, it was just handling those demons of what was coming along with that. And we all go through stuff, right? We all go
Mhm.
through trials and tribulations. We're not perfect. We make mistakes. And when things happen to us, a lot of times, I think people will run away from those problems, right? Rather, as opposed to walking through it. But the thing is, when you walk through those problems, you come out, first of all, you're gonna come out of it, right? You're
Yep.
gonna make it through it, but you're gonna be better on the other side because you walked through it and you didn't avoid it. The one thing that I've known,
Mhm.
I've learned is that when you suppress stuff, at some point in time it's gonna come out,
Mm.
right? And usually it comes out against the people closest to you.
Yeah. The one,
And
yeah. And you can hurt them more than anybody else. Okay.
exactly, and you can hurt them more than anybody else. And
Mhm.
that's where the one thing I wish I could go back and change was that I just wish I didn't allow it to affect me as much as it did.
Mm.
Because what happened was after my rookie year, I tore my PCL, right? So
Mhm.
2007 season, tore my PCL. 2008, tore my medial meniscus, then had microfracture surgery. So for those 2 years, 2.5 years, while I was injured, I was banged up, I wasn't on the football field, that's when the depression really set in, was because I wasn't on the field doing what I love. I couldn't go on the field and run and run routes and all these different things and return punts, and I'm watching y'all on TV, and it's just a horrible feeling, being injured. And then now media is starting to label me as injury prone, and
Yeah.
it's like, wait, hold on, man, I ain't never been injury prone a day in my life, until these last 2 years where I started getting injured. And that's where it can become toxic, for somebody,
Mm.
and that's where I think the mental health part of the game, that's where it's the toughest, because how do I control this while I'm repeatedly getting hit in this? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's
No,
like two
that's a
rams.
great fact. Great point.
It's two rams going head to head every single day in practice, right? And then you're supposed to go off the field and now I got to control this. Well, shoot, hold on, I got beat up for the last 2 hours on this football field over here, and yet as soon as you walk out of that facility, you already have to take off the armor. You got to take off the head plate. You got to put down the sword. You got to take off, the chest plate. You got to put your shield down. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because you're in this barbaric environment on the football field, and then you got to quickly, you know, change and transition to a normal person. And that's where, it became tough for me because I was still mentally in that environment, but I just wasn't physically there.
Mm.
And so I dealt with a lot of depression, naturally having to take a lot of painkillers for the pain.
Mhm.
That was bad for me as well. There was a small addiction there with just taking painkillers and just wanting to kind of, I'm wanting to ease the physical pain, but also the mental pain as well that I was
Mm.
dealing with. And so, that was just, one of the things that I wish I could go back and take back. And it's something that I'm going to now teach my kids,
Mm.
is to how to deal with problems, how to deal with that stress, right? Don't run from it, but walk through it, because when you walk through it, you become stronger for going through it, as opposed to trying to run away from it, because you can't run away from your issues and your problems. They're always going to be there in the back of your head. And like you said, at some point, it's going to come out against the people closest to you,
Yeah.
and I just didn't have that right guidance at that time. But thankfully, I had y'all, right, and I had the football field, and I had my teammates, and that was, if I didn't have that, I don't know, bro. I don't know.
That's like I said, man, I appreciate that, dog, because I mean, I was your teammate, bro, and I didn't
Yeah,
know the depths of everything that you were dealing with at the time. But a
yeah.
lot of that is because shoot, when we were part of your sanctuary, so we
Hmm.
were your release when we got like the best of Reggie.
Yep.
Um, and look, I tell everybody to this day, it's a couple people I love hanging with all the time, and you're one of those because when I'm with Reggie Bush, nobody ever wants to talk to Roman Harper. It's like, oh, it's Reggie Bush. Nobody ever bothers me. I just gotta walk by, just like, bro, I'm just kicking it. I love being with Reggie. Love it. Now, fill in this blank for me.
Yeah.
My name is Reggie Bush, and my life right now is blank.
Peaceful. It's peaceful, and
Nice.
that's, to me, that's the thing that everybody wants it, but not everybody
Mhm.
has it, right? And it's
Very
free.
true.
And it's free. You don't
Oh,
got to pay for peace.
you preaching right now. Go ahead.
Peace is free. And it's, as you go through these ebb and flows of life, these trials and these tribulations, as you get older, right? It's also part of maturity too, is you start to just I understand and I see life from a different perspective. Now we got families, we got a wife and kids.
Mhm.
I think the reason now why we want to go and get it is much different than when we were playing. Right
Oh,
now we got
yes.
something much bigger, a bigger purpose, a larger purpose. I got to be right for my kids every single day. I need to study and continue to push myself so I can give them knowledge and give them, answers to questions that, that I didn't have,
Mhm.
and just making sure that they are being led the right way. Because leadership, man, is, what I've learned is leadership is it's about going through, um, you know, these experiences, and to me, that's where real leadership comes from. Is you've been through all these experiences, you've been able to, fight through some battles and go through some things, and you've been able to be successful and all these different things. And so, to me, right now, it's just about the leadership, of my family and leading my kids the right way, my wife, making sure I'm handling business, things, different projects that I'm involved in,
Mhm.
and our college football show as well.
Yeah.
Big No Kickoff, which has been doing great.
Oh, dude,
And
it's the number one watched. It's one of the, if not the number one, it's one of the top two
yeah,
watched programs in those specific hours of college football.
hmm
So hats
and
off
that's
to
what's
you. I mean
crazy.
it's crazy. I look, man. I try and watch it all the time, but I can't because I'm like on that.
Busy, man.
Yeah,
Come
yeah,
on,
it's
come
like
on.
right there.
I
But I
watch
do
you
catch.
though. I'll be watching it,
I
man. I
know. We
love,
all watch each other when we get the
bro.
chance, bro. You know that.
I love
It's
watching you, man.
amazing. Number one, that how many of our teammates are all in the media now, which we said we
So crazy.
never, we said we would all never do it.
I said I
It
would never do this. I said I'd
ne-
never do it. I
the
ain't messing
enemy.
with y'all. Messing with y'all
So
media people.
yeah, exactly. But now it's how many from that team? It's me, you, Vilma,
Ninkovic,
Ninkovic,
Vilma,
Streef did it for a second.
Reef did it for a second.
Uh,
Drew
Drew,
did it for a second.
um, yeah,
Shanley,
yeah, Shanley.
Shanley's doing it.
Yeah, it's multiple facets of it.
Lance.
Yeah. So
Yep.
tell me this: what made you want to get into TV,
Mm-hmm.
and what's it been like the past few years? Now getting to go back to these campuses, like that's
Yeah.
the best thing for me is
Yeah. Yeah.
getting
Yeah.
to go to these campuses. We never got to tailgate. We never
Mm-hmm.
got to experience these places, and you specifically getting to
Yep.
go to back to SC or covering the Big Ten where
Yep.
it's like cold and you get to experience like what are the campus lives and all those
Yeah.
things like. Could you give me just share with the people that are listeners and things of that, like encapsulate Reggie Bush's life, what made him make these decisions, and how's this whole thing going for you?
It's an awesome experience, man. It really is. Being able to, here's the other thing too is I didn't want to come back to college football, bro. After all this stuff that happened
That's a
at
great point. I
USC,
never thought about that.
when they came to, I was actually doing NFL Network, and I was doing NFL Network for like 2-3 years at this time period. I was doing Thursday Night Football. I was doing the
Hmm.
Saturday Good Morning Football shows with Nate and Kay and and Colleen and all these different people, Smitty. And so I was closely removed from the NFL. So I was like, I'm just gonna stay in the NFL. and Fox came and recruited me for this show during the Super Bowl when we were in Atlanta. And at that time, I was just like, man, I don't think so. I don't think I'm gonna do it. I don't know nothing about college football. The last place I want to go back to was college football. But Fox and Zager and Eric Shanks were awesome, and they really made it easy for me. And they really were like, listen, we want you to be part of the show. We think it's gonna be great. We want to rebrand the college football show here at Fox, and we think it can be a great opportunity. And they talked to me just about the way it was the look and feel of it, and everything that we're gonna do. I'm so glad I took that leap of faith, man. I'm so glad, I
Bro, it's a
stepped
great
in.
show. It's a
And
great show. You guys have
yeah,
fun up there too. You
and that's the thing, man. Is we get a chance to be ourselves and get a chance to
Mhm.
have fun. And now it's like, we're like ambassadors of college football, and
It's
we get a chance to
crazy.
go and to these campuses and kind of relive, some of these experiences because we're celebrated everywhere we go. And that's the
Mhm.
best part of what we do is being in the college experience and at the college level. It's a different passion than the NFL, right? It's way different than the NFL. You get the pageantry, you get the bands, the mascots, the student
Mhm.
sections, the cheerleaders. Like, you get so much to the eye when you watch a college football game, and then being there is even bigger,
Yeah.
and it is even greater. So I really enjoy, doing college football. Man, I just years ago I just never thought I would be back here, but man, I'm having so much fun with it. I love it, enjoy it, and man, I can't wait to see what the future holds for me at this level.
All right, one more quick question before we toss to a break. We gotta pay some bills, dog. We've
Yep,
been on, and me and you, we could do this all day.
we can do this all day, man.
We could literally do this all day. And we hadn't talked in a little bit, so we hadn't seen each
Yeah,
other. So this is like what we do.
yep.
What's been your favorite campus?
Um, let's see. Ohio State's always great. Michigan never disappoints. I think this year going to TCU was a lot of fun.
Fort
Seeing,
Worth. I've never been there. I have no
yeah,
idea what that campus looks like.
going to Fort Worth was awesome. And just getting a chance to TCU is a smaller school, smaller
Yeah,
private
it's
school,
like 10,000
but
people.
yeah, I didn't know that until
Yeah.
I really didn't know that. I was like, damn, there's really not that many people here. But they just seeing a run that they went on this year, and
Hmm.
just seeing kind of just this magical season that they had, and following them and being a part of that, a little bit, and covering them some of their games and getting a chance to talk to Max Duggan and some of these other athletes. To me, that's the best part. I love getting a chance to actually meet the athletes and
Yeah.
talk to them, because you see so much of ourselves in them, and where they are in their careers at the college level. And also, I'm just excited for where college football is headed now that some of these kids can make money off their name, image, and likeness. Because I just to me, it's when you're at the college level, you're in your prime. When I
Yeah.
was 18, 19, 20 years old, making all those highlights at USC, I was in my prime, right? And now that these kids can benefit from that, they can go and provide for their families at a much
Hmm.
earlier stage, right? They can take care of themselves, right? They can
Hmm.
they can pay some bills, they can put gas in their car. These are all things that I was worried about in college. Was like, where's my next meal gonna be? You know what
Yeah,
I'm
I don't
saying?
blame you. Gas
Because
is very expensive in LA. Very expensive.
expensive as hell. And then the cost of living as well, so it's like a lot of the things that were on our minds, things that we were thinking about on a daily basis, is these kids don't have to worry about that. So the
Mm.
stress level goes down, right? So
Yeah.
now you can just kind of really just be yourself, man. Just really dive in and just be who you are. You don't have to rush to the NFL if you don't want to, right? You can
Agreed.
make some money at the college level, which I think is very important, because there's some guys who feel like, I got to go now because I got to get that money right now because my family's dependent on me. You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
so I just love, all these different stories that I'm getting a chance to see, read, and hear about, with the young kids at the college level now, because they deserve it. And I think it's important, it's impactful, for all of them.
Reg, you're my guy. Here we go. We got a couple quick hitters for you.
All right.
I didn't just give us to us. First thing that comes to mind. This is what we
Okay.
always try and give people. Some people we throw people off, some we don't. It's whatever. All
Mm-hmm.
right. What was your first welcome to the NFL moment?
2006, playing in divisional round playoffs.
I didn't know you were going to go here, but I know
Philadelphia Eagles. Got my ass laid out. Here's the thing, all right? We talk about DeMar Hamlin and everything he went through, which I'm so glad he's
That is a
alive,
great
well,
point. That is a
doing
great
much
point.
better, doing great. But I gotta be honest with you, everything that he experienced, I experienced that times 2 in that hit against from Sheldon Brown in that game, bro. I felt like my heart stopped. I felt like my soul left my body. I felt like my head was detached from my body. Like literally everything you could ever imagine in the worst car accident you've ever been in, but you lived through it. That's how I felt in that moment. That was my welcome to the NFL moment and hit, and I will never forget it, bro. You saw a human being fighting for his life on that field, bro.
I did see it. I was on the sidelines, yes. And so, for those that don't know, Sheldon Brown hit Reggie Bush on a flat route. I mean, Drew, he shouldn't have checked to it. Anyways, Reg, great job to even hold on to the ball. You held on to it too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. So the best part is Reg gets destroyed, right? Sheldon Brown did a complete sprint right through Reggie's chest. Reg trying to be as tough as he could, bro. He tried to get up.
I tried.
My boy tried to get up like twice, but he went right back down, right? He's like,
A for effort.
It was great effort, dog. Like, and you came back in the game eventually, but bro, you was hurting, dog, and it looked really bad. And I can only imagine because a guy like Reggie Bush, you guys seen his highlights, he's never taken a hard hit his whole life. Probably that's probably the first time you'd ever really gotten hit.
That was my first real. I mean, I've had some moments where I banged helmets with somebody.
Yeah,
you know, you kind of.
But you saw that
white, everything goes clear. You start seeing little stars and stuff. Yeah. But this one was like a grenade, like an explosion, like. My entire body disintegrated and then came back together. You know what I'm saying? All in one moment. And I never forget. Like you said, once I hit the ground, I jumped right back up because I just did not want to show that I was hurt.
Yeah, I was watching.
It hadn't registered in my body yet that there was no air and I couldn't breathe because the wind was knocked out of me. So I dropped folded right back to the ground. Now I'm crawling, right? Now I'm crawling, but I'm crawling for air. Like I'm crawling, is air over here? Is it over there? Like, where's this air at, fam? I don't got it right now.
Hey, the best part was over on the sidelines, bro, because I tore my ACL, so I wasn't playing. I wasn't dressed. And the rest of all of us that was non-dressed were all like, we were all like Smokey and Craig's dad and Friday, like, get up, Craig. Get up, Craig. We all like, get up, Reg. Get up, Reg. And he just like, he wasn't getting up, dog. It was hurt. We felt you. We felt you.
You know what's funny is Dante, you remember Dante Stallworth?
Yeah, of course.
One of my really good friends was on the other sideline. He played for the Eagles at that time. And I was on their sideline when it happened.
You were close to him.
And he was yelling at me. And I couldn't hear anything he was saying because it was like literally I was deaf and I was just trying to breathe. And afterwards, years later, whatever, he was like, man, I was trying to get his attention. I was like, Reg, you good? Reg, you good? You good? I literally couldn't hear this dude, bro. And he's standing right here next to me and I couldn't hear a word he was saying to me.
It looked painful. I'm glad that was I'm glad you shared that.
I'm glad I survived it. I need to write a book, Surviving the Worst Hit in the NFL Ever. That's my book right there.
All right. Peanut had a question for you, and he wanted to know, what was your first big splurge purchase after you got drafted in the league?
My big splurge purchase was I bought a car, bought a Mercedes-Benz. It was called the Shark, and it had this like crazy grill on the front of it. And I never forget, like, just getting in that car for the first, like, being able to just buy something, like that, like a car for the first time was just a great feeling, right? And then being able to buy a house, was just, it was just amazing, man. To know that you made it, you finally, all the hard work is paid off. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Being able to go and buy something that you wanted was just an amazing feeling, man. So I would just say a car. That was my first.
I also, for the listeners, for all y'all that don't know, me and Reggie Bush went condo shopping too together.
Did we?
Yeah, we did. Me, you, and Orny. Yeah, in New Orleans.
In New
Me and you
Orleans.
and
In New
Orny.
Orleans.
Yeah,
In New
me and you and
Orleans.
Orny. We all went to dinner and then we looked at condos for like 2 days. That
Yeah.
just
Yeah. Yeah.
more stories. It's whatever. First, second round pick, man. We only want some money, dog.
Man.
We rolling. It's all good. Peanut had another one.
Mhm.
If you could pick one of these to start your team with, a running back, that is, who would it be? We know your love for Barry Sanders, Marshall Faulk, or Marcus Allen. You've all mentioned that all of these guys at one point in time were like a role model to you. So who would it be?
Oh my God. It's hard. They all had different influences on my life. Marcus is from San Diego. He's from my neighborhood, from my hometown. Watching him and just seeing what he did and his accomplishments was amazing for me. And just it really gave me hope that I can go and do it. That's where I
Yeah,
really got the first sense of hope that I could actually go and do this thing, was knowing that there were guys from my neighborhood that already did it. So it was Marshall
that's so
Falk.
beautiful. Yep.
Not Marshall Falk. It was Marcus Allen, Terrell Davis, Ricky Williams, and Rasham Salam. Rest in peace. Those are the four guys from my neighborhood that paved the way for me, and gave me hope that I can go do it. And then you talk about Marshall. Marshall really instilled in me, watching him, to step outside of the running back position and go play receiver, right?
No
And be able to
doubt.
catch the ball out of the backfield and be able to go play in space, and to be able to just be an extra added weapon, not only in the running game, but in the pass game as well. And then Barry was like my ultimate influence. Like I really wanted to be Barry on that field. And it's just, if I had to choose one, you forcing me, I'm gonna say Barry, man, because nobody was better than Barry.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. That boy Barry
Nobody.
was something different, dog.
I was watching some highlights of him the other day. His stop and go was, and he got to think he's doing this on that old turf,
Old turf.
not that new turf that we got
No.
now. He doing that on carpet.
I'm surprised he didn't tear more guys' knees up with
Yeah.
like all his moves. I'm not lying.
Me too.
All right, Reg, this is one that I had not thought of when I knew that you were going to come on. And then just knowing your uniqueness, who you are, where all the places you've been and all the things you've seen. Give me, all right, have this picture in your mind. I want to know what's the best room that you've ever been in with like the who's who of like this person is this is that. I want to know the highlight room that Reggie Bush has been in, where it's like, man, this is like big time high quality.
You mean just like athletes or like entertainers or like?
Everything,
Oh my
the whole
God.
gambit of it. I'm sure you've been in the room with some.
Uh, yeah. I'm trying to think of the different rooms though that I've been in. I've been able to, I think, just meet some great people, man. Meet some amazing people in my time period. People that I've looked up to, people that I've had a lot of respect for. Um, I got a chance to meet Obama when he was not the president yet, when he was actually running to become the president. I went to one of his campaign parties, got a chance to meet him, and then seeing what he was able to do after that, going to be the president of the United States, was awesome, man. And that was one person that I think that I look at as somebody that was just a pleasure to meet. I actually used to live very close to also Jim Brown. Jim Brown was, is someone who I hold a lot of respect for. When you talk about, the time period he played in, the things he had to deal with, right? Like we talk about some of our issues and things we deal with right now, but Jim Brown, man, he was really in the field. He was really in the streets, really, fighting for equality, for African Americans, for athletes, and for just, people of color. And just getting a chance, I think, to meet him, somebody like that, who's just, again, we talk about how football sometimes is bigger than the sport itself. That was one of those moments, for Jim Brown, meeting him. And so this was crazy. So I had two dogs. I had a boxer and I had an American bulldog. And when I would leave, they would break out of my house and would get out and they'd just be running around the streets where I lived at. And Jim's wife literally like 4 different times found my dogs and brought them back to my house. And so it was so crazy. Like Jim Brown's wife is like finding my dogs for me, who
Uh,
are running around the streets, probably terrorizing the
like
neighborhood.
this
And
young whippersnapper Reggie Bush, dog, can't keep his dogs
man, this
in
boy
control.
Reggie can't take care of his dogs, man.
Terrorizing our neighborhood over here, just bringing the property value down. Got
Yeah.
stray dogs running loose.
But yeah, man, I've been blessed to meet some great people, and I think those are the two people that jump out to me. Is just people who are larger than life in their time periods and did so much, for the change of our world and the direction of sports and all those things.
Okay, well, all right. Here's my last question, and that is, who is on your Mount Rushmore of people that have influenced you and impacted your life? On Mount
Mm.
Rushmore, you get four.
My mom, for sure. I put my
Uh-huh.
mom in the category.
Love your mom.
Man, just such an amazing woman, amazing person. She's always worked so hard. And that's honestly where I get my work ethic from, is from watching her and seeing how hard she used to work and the time she used to put in to support our family, me and my brother.
Mhm.
Um,
Who your brother?
number-
If people don't know, your Reggie's brother's like 6'3", 6'4". Crazy.
no, no, no,
Who
no, 6'7".
exactly. It's like
Dude,
it makes zero sense, ladies
it
and
makes no
gentlemen.
sense. I
It
don't get it.
makes zero sense. I just want to let
I was,
everybody know. Reggie
man, I
has
got the
really big
speed. He got
feet.
the height. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
it's like it's crazy. It's the most ludicrous thing ever. All right, go ahead.
It's so
Sorry.
crazy. Um, but family is very important to me, man. And I think as we grow up, we see and we learn just how important it is to have people close to you that know you, that you've grown up with, that you've been around. The other person I would say is on my Mount Rushmore for impactful people. Dang, in my life, I would go back to my little league coaches.
Nice.
I had two coaches, uh, Coach Peely and Coach Kiola. One was Samoan and one was Hawaiian, and
Uh-huh.
both these dudes were crazy as hell. And when I was my first introduction to football, when I first started playing when I was 9 years old, they were my coaches, and they were so strict and so not mean, but it's how coaching is. Like you got
Yeah.
to be, you got to expect discipline from the kids, and so they commanded respect, they commanded discipline from us, and it really set me off the right way. It really set me up the right way because it gave
Hmm.
me such a good foundation
Yeah.
from my first coaches out that I was around of just how to work, how to grind, how to go get it, how to be disciplined. It really set me up for the rest of my career, and I go back to them because again of what they instilled in me,
Mhm.
but also the opportunities that they gave me, and I needed positive male influence in my life at that
Yeah.
time period because I didn't have my real dad in my life as much as I wanted to,
Yeah.
and these coaches became that positive male influence in my life that I really needed, and really just set my career up. So
Shout out
them
to them. Shout out to those coaches.
hundred
That's
percent,
big. Shout
hundred
out.
percent.
Shout
It's
out.
big. Little league coaching is important,
Huge. I agree.
and as of now, I'm going through it on the other spectrum. I'm just seeing how important it is to have good coaching, man, at Little League because it really helps the parenting out a lot as well.
Mm.
My other Mount Rushmore of coaches, I would probably, or not, I don't even necessarily say coaches, but there's a combination of guys: Pete Carroll, T Mac, Tom McNair, my running back coach at USC, um, Ken Norton Jr. I would just say that coaching staff that we had
Yep.
at USC because they really demanded, again, so much just discipline and respect and competition and all these things that were just that we were born into, that helped us not only on the field but off the field. So I think I learned a lot of things from them that helped serve me well off the field.
Okay.
That has just helped me to become the man I am today. And then lastly, I'm gonna say my wife, because when me and my wife met, I was in a very dark place. I was in a very dark time period. I was still fighting through a lot of the demons and things from the Heisman stuff that happened in USC. And I was actually ready to move. I was about to move to Miami because I just remember I got traded to Miami.
Yep.
I was ready to move to Miami, all in, sell my house in LA. I'm gonna just go out here. I'm gonna dive in fully, and I was ready to get away from LA and do something different. And then we met, and it literally just changed my life because she one, she was just there for me. We had our daughter, and we developed such a close relationship. We became best friends, and that was something that I really needed at that time period because I didn't have that, and I didn't know I needed that until I got it, man. So my wife has been such a huge inspiration in my life. I think our best medicine has been just laughing every day. You know, it's literally that simple. I make her laugh, she makes me laugh. We tell jokes to each other all the time, and that relationship, more than anything, has given me so much just stability at home, stability in my foundation. Not only, when I was playing, but off the field as well, because again, that's the thing. When you play a sport like football, again, the biggest thing I always come back to is how do you control this mind when you're constantly getting hit in your head, constantly? And that's a tough thing to do. It's like a boxer, right? Boxers constantly getting hit in the head, and we see some of those long-term effects that happens to them. And it's no different in football. We got helmets, but we still getting smacked in the head. And so just the stability that she brought me in this time period that I really needed, it really helped me out a lot, man.
Yeah. Shout out to Lalit again. That's my girl. Love Lalit. She's an amazing cooker too. Like she be throwing it down. All right. And for those that don't know, go look her up. Follow her on Instagram. Follow my boy Reggie too. Reggie, man, you're a blessing, man. I love you,
big dog. Appreciate you, man.
We're gonna get up out of here, man. And thank you. I really appreciate you coming on, man. Peanut missed a great one. All right, I want to thank all my listeners for tuning in. I want to ask you all to continue to spread the word, give us a rating, a review, and a follow on Apple Podcasts or the iHeartRadio app or wherever else you get your podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you later. Peace.